Here on NBA TV, Trae Young, of course, traded effectively for Luka Doncic. The Hawks will also get a first-round pick from the Mavericks.
Tipped away, but into the hands of Trae. Back to Collins.
Lob up top to John Collins, who's put up numbers here lately.
He's been playing really well. That young man is really athletic. He's got a little mid-range game too that I like to see, and he shoots the three okay. I mean, he's going to help these guys out. A little too much big Nikola.
Hawks had no answer for Nikola Vucevic. There's Terrence Ross. Went for 16 on the night. Vucevic blocked at the rim. Well, there's an answer. But then they get the bucket anyway.
Yeah, Nikola played big tonight. He plays big inside. And, you know, when you look at the ball movement that the Hawks had on this play, they need more of that, Kevin.
Yes.
They need more ball movement. They need more people getting involved.
How about Dwayne Dedmon? 5 of 7 from the great beyond in this game for the big fella.
Ooh,
He's another one of those threes who you didn't know could shoot the three until the last couple of seasons because necessity came calling.
I'm telling you, Fareed, when he gets to Houston, he's breaking out the three.
I like it.
Isaiah Briscoe, Evan Fournier for 3, and then it's
Nice.
Vucevic.
He's got nice patience on his offensive game. The post doesn't rush anything and plays well. You know, we talked for a second about Trae Young. You know, I look at a guy who's got a nice jump shot. I look at a guy, you know, he can shoot the ball. And you said it before, though, Zeke. Those guys with a beautiful stroke doesn't translate to makes in our league. But when you're shooting 29% from the three-point line, and you have a stroke, which this kid has, nice little floater right there. I don't mind that shot from him. He's shown me that he can perfect that shot. Coming off again, he got the little runner at the elbow, misses that one coming in. But I just think that what has happened with him, he's taken so many tough threes in this thing, and now he gets inside with the two. Earlier in the year, he was stopping and taking some threes from frickin' half court, it felt like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think when you shoot the ball that good, you should not shoot 29% from the three. You got to be, he's starting to shoot it better now the last month or two. But man, it's just, to me, it's all shot selection. If you shoot a poor percentage, you either can't shoot,
right,
or you take tough shots. He's got to be taking just too many tough shots.
Well, Zeke, how much of that shot selection is the product of the fact that he was able to get away with it at Oklahoma, right, where he basically had the green light to do whatever he wanted? And how much of it is a product of size and the fact that he's a smaller point guard coming into the NBA, and maybe those are the shots available to him?
I think being a smaller point guard right now, and where all the rules favor the small men in this league today, that should be an advantage for you. He should not have to take bad shots. Mm-hmm. I mean, his shot selection earlier has been poor, mm-hmm. and people have been critical of his shot selection. I think right now he's trying to improve on that. He's trying to work on that. But if you're going to be a point guard in this league and you're going to be a really good one, the two things that you got to have great shot selection and understanding of your offense. And secondly, you got to be a top-notch defender at the point guard position, because that is the most difficult position to defend against every night. Mm-hmm. And if you are a poor defender as a point guard, you got no shot at being an elite player in this league right now, because the point guard position, you have to defend.
Okay, Zeke, question for you, because I played against you. You were tough. You'd get down in front people. In the switching schemes that everybody does now, can Trae Young even get around in front people down there? Like, if you're a big horse and you're going to take him down there, I'm just going to pin him behind me. He's never going to get a chance in front of me and be physical. So can they run the scheme everybody runs, where they switch their point guard off on people, the point guard fronts, the backside help comes over, and they play. I wonder if Trae can do that. I don't see him as being physical enough to kind of battle bigs.
I would have more pride in my individual defense, and when I get screened, I would want help from you.
Yeah, but I
wouldn't want you to switch off and then I take yours. I would want a little help, right, mm-hmm. until I hustle my behind and got back in front, mm-hmm. and then defended my man. But I would have a little bit more self-pride. I look at the defensive schemes of today, and I don't see any individual pride mm-hmm. by most of the players saying, I want to guard you. Now, every now and then we do see it. We see the Kawhi Leonard say, hey, I need a little help. Then I'll get back, I'll get mine, mm-hmm. right? We see the Patrick Beverley, so forth and so on. But for the most part throughout the league, at the point guard position in particular, the one that I'm talking about, they are too, easy to give off their responsibility
Right.
to the big man and let the big man guard the most effective player out on the floor, and they get off the hook.
And then conversely, one quick finish that, put a period at the end of that. And then the big guy gets switched, the small guy, the point guard gets switched on the big guy. Then the big guy goes down, beats him up, and gets the ball 3 feet from the basket, and everybody says, oh, he's too big.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
you didn't have to do that.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
You fight over, you don't have to do that. So they kind of have it both ways. They switch because it's easier. Then they get scored on and go, hey, the guy's a foot taller than I am.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. I just think you got to take some pride and you got to get through. So, the book is really, for me, Doncic, he's just going to get better. I mean, he's the real deal. What Trae Young's going to be yet, I don't know. He's got better vision than I thought he had. But I don't know, man. I tell you what, that trade is not looking really great. If you're an Atlanta Hawks fan right now, don't ever watch the Dallas Mavericks play because you'll get depressed.
It's a frustrating exercise.
Yes.
There are plenty of teams that have the right personnel that make switching defensively look really good.
No question.
But it has become too much of a default defensively around the league. There are teams that switch for no good reason, and you see it every night. We'll hear from some folks about the holiday and its meaning along the way in this edition of Game Time, including Karl Anthony Towns.
Martin Luther King was one of the few people in humanity to unify people, not only of one race, but of all races. He was one of the guys that led love over hate. He led peace over violence. Martin Luther King will forever be remembered for doing the things that are not easy and making the suggestions that were not popular.
Philadelphia 76ers and Adrian Wojnarowski tweeted, as he is wont to do, that the Rockets have agreed to trade Carmelo Anthony and cash to the Chicago Bulls. We expect the Bulls then to turn him around and release him for Melo to become a free agent. It'll save the Rockets some cap money moving forward, and Melo will become, as I said, a free agent available to anybody around the league. The question here, guys, is what kind of market will there be for Carmelo Anthony at this stage of his career and at this stage of the season?
I think there will always be a market for a guy that can score the basketball and be a good teammate. And I think the last part of it is when Carmelo gets interviewed by different teams, they will be trying to ascertain if he can be a good teammate, right? And if he can be a good teammate, I don't think people question his talent on the offensive side of the ball. I think they question, A, is he coachable? And B, can he be a good teammate? Because if you're coachable and you can be a good teammate, then there's a place for you in this league. I think what's happened to him in Houston, unfortunately, is that people question if he's coachable or can he be a good teammate. And the last part, last question I got is, do you think Wojo knew before Carmelo?
Probably, yeah.
I think Carmelo knew this was coming because procedurally they had to get it done today.
And
He
that
probably
was
knew
just
something
a
was going to
joke
happen.
because Wojo's so good.
Yeah.
He always has the scoop.
Well, here's the
Woj
potential.
broke it to Melo. He called
Yeah,
Woj.
did-
Yeah,
he-
you get
Very well
credit.
might. Here are the potential cons on this from Carmelo Anthony. He's coming off his worst season as a pro last year. He's 34 going on 35. He's only played 2 games so far this season. How many teams are interested in that guy? I guess if you're a borderline team and you need something off your bench and he's willing to be that guy, maybe you take a chance?
Well, I don't know. I'm just going to be honest. I look at him as a defensive liability right now. He's not able to guard. In a switching league where everybody's getting out and doing so much switching, the length and the ability to move your feet, block shots, just be disruptive defensively is huge. He's never been disruptive defensively. He's always been an average to poor defender.
Yeah.
And then you hit on the biggest thing, Zeke. You're just saying, if I'm a young team, okay, and we're struggling a little bit, maybe to score some points, and he might help us in that area. Do I want to bring him into our locker room? And is he going to be a positive influence on all these young guys that you're trying to explain to them? It's not about putting up numbers. It's about putting up wins.
Yeah.
It's not about how many numbers you can get. It's how good you can make your teammate. It's not all about you. It's about us. A little less me, a lot more we. Does he fit into that? And if you're a GM, there's a lot of questions you got to ask yourself with that guy.
Well, we'll find out soon enough. He's expected to be released today. The deal won't go through formally today because it's a holiday, probably tomorrow, and then he'll become a free agent available to anybody, and we'll see what the market is for 34-year-old Carmelo Anthony.
Okay, the only question on that is the animal going to shoot threes in Houston? Everybody else shoots them.
Well, yeah, that's you either going to shoot a three or you're going to shoot a layup. And
He's got a lot of layups and
I think
dunks,
he's the
okay.
layup part of that equation.
well, in his mind, I'm sure he's been working on his
It's three. Oh, I like to see that. I can't wait. He's like, here we go, baby.
The big man's dream, right? It's like, I finally find a coach who's going to let me shoot the three, and I'm going to prove to all of you that I can shoot the three.
There you go.
Lakers should get some of Clint Capella's minutes. Of course, Capella is out for the next few weeks for the Rockets. They are playing very small here lately. Let's bounce around. Fourth straight win for the Bucks, who have now won 16 of their last 19. One of the headlines, though, is Doncic becomes the second teenager ever to record a triple-double.
Okay, and we missed the whole lead on this whole story. There was two Antetokounmpos arm in arm before the game. You know that picture they had?
Yeah.
How often can you say two Antetokounmpos? I mean, one Antetokounmpo is hard enough to say, but when you throw two Antetokounmpos out there.
I believe the plural is Antetokounmpi.
Oh, Antetokounmpi.
We'll check
like
the research,
octopi.
but
yeah, exactly. I hear.
I just call him Giannis and Lil Giannis.
Giannis and Giannis' little brother.
Yeah, that's Lil Giannis right there.
Costas, by the way, was drafted last by the Mavericks, the 60th overall pick. Let's talk about Doncic here a little bit. He's putting up numbers 26 and 5. He would be the third rookie in NBA history to put up those numbers. The other two are Oscar Robertson and Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
If you're underestimating what Luka Doncic has done, it's pretty remarkable.
It's remarkable and impressive, and it's real. You know, this isn't a fluke.
Right.
He's not having a good month. He's not having a good couple of weeks. I mean, he's the real deal, and he's only going to get better.
Yep.
And he also has, in my opinion, the perfect coach for him in Rick Carlisle, because Carlisle has put him in positions where he can be successful. Not only has he put him in positions where he can be successful, but he's moved him all around the floor, and he's letting him use the total, repertoire of all his skills. So I like what Luka, I like who Luka is, and I like what Carlisle has really done and the way the team has bought into him.
Yeah, the reason that it's real, he plays at his own pace. He just goes fast when he wants to go fast. Other than that, he takes his time. He sees the entire court. I mean, to do the ball fakes he does. He gets guys, he does the okey-doke, puts it over their head,
Yeah.
and brings it back, and then shoots it, or puts it over their head. He's so calm with the ball. Yeah. He's made really big shots for this team when they needed him in crunch situations. But yet, he sees the court so well. You see some guys that come in our league and they just play 100 miles an hour, and their speed kind of gets everybody. He just plays at his own pace. And when you play at your own pace, the more you get accustomed to the league and the more you get comfortable, the better you play. So he's just going to get better. Because he's doing it with this. I mean, he's got a really high basketball IQ, knows how to play. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think you're right. I think Coach Carlisle does a tremendous job with him. Now, can they incorporate Smith back in the fold and get Dennis Smith playing well with him? Because I think that Smith's a heck of an athlete, should be able to play off him. And if they can get that thing solved, that's two nice young pieces.
Very nice young pieces.
For Dallas to grow with. But
and I think Smith, skill-wise, really complements Luka, because he's athletic, he's electrifying, he can do things in the air, he can bring the crowd into it, he can handle the ball sometimes, he can run Luka off. So I mean, skill-wise, they really fit. Now, chemistry-wise, do they fit? And when you have two young players like that, sometimes it doesn't work out because personalities do clash. But Luka's the real deal.
If you've been following this story, you know that Dennis Smith Jr. has been away from the team. He's missed 5 games in a row now, apparently just because he's unhappy about his role and about the way Rick Carlisle has used him, and perhaps about the way Rick Carlisle has coached Luka Doncic relative to the way he's been coached. They expect him to return to the team and be back by Tuesday. You just saw the Magic
games. Let's say it one more time. He's averaging 40 over the last 21. That last loss against the Nets, Harden scored 58. He scored at least 30 in 18 straight games. He'll look to continue that streak against the Lakers tonight at 8. What's been most impressive about what he's doing?
I think being in shape. And people say, that sounds too easy. Well, you have to, and Boozer, you know this, you have to be in a certain kind of shape to put these kind of numbers up every night. I remember Tracy McGrady said it one day with Paul George, when you become that next level superstar, your legs have to be in a certain type of condition because you have to do it every night. It was like we were teasing about Kuzma. He got to 42 and then kind of fell off for a couple games and he got back hot again. He was like, wow, it is hard to get 42 every night. So now when you watch James Harden do it, you're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
After coming back from an injury this season to get his legs back in his condition to perform the way he is.
And what's even more impressive to me is that, think about it, he's the number one thing on the paper when you're trying to stop the Houston Rockets.
Right.
And he's still putting up these kind of numbers. It's very impressive what he's doing.
Well, Mike D'Antoni says Chris Paul will return sometime next week. This week, the Rockets also lost Clint Capella 4 to 6 weeks following thumb surgery. So how much of these injuries are starting to mount up for this team that makes Harden's run even more ridiculous when you're considering he's not getting help from other guys?
Yeah, he's carrying the load, man. I mean, obviously with CP being out, that hurts a lot. Capella being out, especially with rebounding and someone that dives to the hoop, gets the easy lobs and alley-oop dunks. It makes James Harden job that much more harder, but he's doing it. He's performing, he's carrying that team, he's getting some help from Eric Gordon, Gerald Green's playing very well. Other guys can step up as well, but it's pretty much all on James Harden's shoulders.
Yeah, defensively it's going to be interesting to see how they play good team defense without Capella. Offensively, James has proven he can hold down the fort till Chris Paul gets healthy. But now with Capella, who's going to be that rim protector? Who's going to get those big rebounds he was showing us this season?
Well, that's an interesting question because according to multiple reports, Kenneth Faried is that guy. Now, here's a thing that's just concerning about him. He's played 44 games over the last 2 years, and he's not hurt. Why is that?
Because he hasn't been in Brooklyn's rotation, or should I say plan. He wasn't in Denver's plan. Once Jokic and Nurkic came on, we talked about in the meeting, he had just got that big contract. He said he saw the writing on the wall. He gets to Brooklyn, Kenny Atkinson said he's just not a part of the rotation, so that's what happened. But I will give him credit. He hasn't complained. He hasn't been a bad apple in the locker room. He's been going about his business. Now he's about to get bought out and possibly, go to Houston to all the conversation. If that happens, he will bring energy. That's how he made his name in this NBA, of running the floor, getting loose balls, rebounding, setting good screens, and rolling to the basket.
And speaking of situations, you're a guy that understands it depends as a big what your situation is. For him to play with a guy like James Harden, look, he's averaged 13 points in his career. He's averaged 9 rebounds in a season in his career. Can he get back to that form? He's still just 29.
Well, Houston's going to hope he does. He's very young. He's very fresh. He doesn't have a lot of miles on his legs right now. And the hope for Faried is, like 3D said, he brings energy. There's always room for a guy that brings energy and effort. And if he can continue to run the floor hard, set good screens, roll to the hoop for alley-oops, play good defense, rebound the basketball, he can help that team out.
Keeping with our theme of teams missing their key players, there's none bigger than one LeBron James for the Los Angeles Lakers, right? Well, they come into tonight against Houston riding a 2-game win streak. The Lakers actually 5-7 overall without LeBron now. That includes wins in 4 of their last 6. Of the young Lakers who seemingly are growing through this experience over the past couple of games, who's growing the most to you?
Kyle Kuzma has been cooking. You look at his numbers throughout the stretch, 26 points, 7 rebounds, playing very well. Me and 3D talked about it last night with you, Chris. He plays downhill. He's a runner. He takes advantage of his opportunities. He shoots the ball from a pretty solid clip from the three-point line. He makes his free throws, and he's getting more consistent. And that's the big thing for me with him, because he can pick and pop. He can roll to the hoop. On defense, he can play the 2, 3 to 4, sometimes the 5, depending on who he's going against. So for him, in his second year, to be averaging 19 points and doing what he's doing, trying to hold that fort down offensively, doing a great job.
I think for that OKC game was Alonzo Ball for me, and to hear him say that I'm playing with more confidence, I'm playing more aggressive now that LeBron's not on the floor. He's used to having the ball in his hand, so I'm saying to myself, guys, if Alonzo can play with this type of aggression and this type of focus and this type of confidence when LeBron comes back, then LeBron can say, okay, maybe I can take this quarter off because I know Zoe's going to do all the right things to keep things going. If I come out the game, we're up 10, I come back in, we're up 14 because Zoe is playing confident basketball. That's what I like when I saw in that OKC game.
All right, focusing on this matchup, the Lakers have also lost to the Rockets twice, and that's with LeBron, and that's by an average of 12 points. All right, and James Harden scored 50 the last time these two teams went head-to-head. Can we expect the Lakers to be able to compete in this one? Chris Paul out, Clint Capella out. That's different. But can they compete against James Harden, the bearded one, the way that they're currently constructed without LeBron on the court?
Well, I think what Luke Walton will try to do is to tap in what we saw in the OKC game the other night. The question is, when James Harden gets cooking, does your enthusiasm get taken out of you, because now how do you slow him down? You know, on the flip side is you have to get some stops to get some easy offense to get your confidence going on the offensive side of the ball.
I think something else I like that they did the other game was where they had Ingram playing the point, almost like
Yes.
a point forward.
Yes.
That helps them offensively, get guys involved, make plays for each other. So we'll probably see more of that tonight.
LeBron will be cleared to practice next week. Lakers have Golden State on Monday, Timberwolves on Thursday, the Suns on Sunday. When you look at those games and you think of LeBron coming back, when do you foresee him being able to get back on the court if he's just now starting to practice on Monday?
Knowing LeBron, Booz, you've been around him before. If LeBron really wanted to play, I think tomorrow, if we had to, he would. But I think there's being smart just to make sure. So a practice or two, and if Brian says he's ready, then he'll be back on the floor.
Yeah, LeBron's done a great job with his body. As you guys know, he barely ever misses any games, as we've seen throughout his career. I'll leave it up to him. You know, I think if I'm one of his teammates, he knows his body better than anybody else at this stage in his career. Does a good job of taking care of it. He works out every day. And when he's ready, he'll be back out there. And when he does get back out there, the wins will start going like this. Yeah.
And if you go this, right? Because the Lakers in the standings, they were doing this before their recent win streak, winning 4 of their last 6. Does that take the pressure off LeBron to come back when, okay, the young guys are handling this right now, they're staying afloat, they've won 4 of 6, as opposed to, oh, wow, we're falling, we're almost out of the playoff picture in the Western Conference?
I think it's the other way around, where when things were struggling, it might have been some pressure that maybe I come back a little sooner.
Yeah.
They win a couple. And now I want to get back now while they're playing well to feed off the good confidence and the good play, versus they're struggling. It's like, LeBron, come save us. No, now we found our stride. Now we found our confidence. Now come back to your point. Now let's really ride this wave and go that way. I think he's looking at it that way.
Yeah, I agree 100%, because now these guys have stepped up. Kuzma's playing better. You know, Lonzo Ball's playing better. Ingram's being a playmaker and doing more things. Then you bring LeBron, who's an MVP candidate, back into the fold and gives them a chance to get even more boosted, hopefully climb a little bit up in this Western Conference standings.
That makes a lot of sense. It'll be interesting to see how the Lakers perform tonight against the Houston Rockets and how they look when LeBron James comes back. Certainly something to be excited about. Russell Westbrook